And we are live. Welcome, everyone. I'm Mark Trombley with WeedWell, and today I have the pleasure of having both of my colleagues, Doug Rawson as well as Paul Calori. And today we're having our monthly capstone, something that I look forward to, and I believe my colleagues do as well, where this is an opportunity to reflect in the previous month and as well to pick a topic that we can together elaborate on. And the topic today is our success path. So, Doug and Paul, welcome. And who wants to take the lead?
Good day. It looks like it will be me. How are you guys doing today?
Well, we were just commenting on how beautiful a day that this is, and actually able to have lunch outside for some of us.
Oh yeah. So, Mark, you identified it's our capstone, monthly capstone. So, this is a capstone on May. What's been accomplished. So, we released another 5 episodes of our podcast. And actually, June is going to be a big month for us. It's going to be a huge month. Next week, I believe either next Tuesday or Thursday, depending on how the stars line, we're going to hit episode number 50 of our podcasts. This one that we're doing right now is episode number 48. So we will be hitting 50 next week. Paul and I have been going through our content. And our last month, we kind of went through the different resources that's available to everyone and the resources, how they fit and align to our roadmap. And we really tried to align them as such. But as we continued since that episode, lining up the pieces of content and how it really helps people move forward on their own journey of wellness, on their path to be well. We're uncovering more and more pieces of content that we got to get easier for everyone to find. Some of the work that we did since the last time we got together was to really make it easier for people to be able to find the resources. So we've done a lot of work talking about a roadmap. And again, the roadmap is to help you on your journey. No matter where you're at in your journey, how can you move forward one step at a time? It doesn't matter where you're at in your journey. We have facilitated a way to be able to get the information to you easier via email. And again, you can decide on where you are on your roadmap. And you can find our roadmap by simply going to weedwell.co/map. So by going to weedwell.co/map, you're going to get a copy of our roadmap. And we've talked in the past about different stages, different steps that you're in. And each step has been designed to get an action item that you can move forward by accomplishing a milestone to move on to the next stage. And I know every time, Mark and Paul, you do an episode, traditionally, we're focused on one area, whether it's be clear or be well or somewhere in between. We're focused on one aspect to it and giving more content, more information for the consumer. I think today what would be a good exercise, because in the past little while we've really been going really deep on the action items. We've really been going deep on how to journal, why to journal, how to titrate, and why it's important to titrate, and why to talk to your doctor. We've covered a lot of the hows. And we've got a lot of resource available to help people with the hows. But I think today what would be good for all of us is to take a step back and let's spend some time on what we call our success path. And our success path was really designed to really add some clarity about where are you at what stage of the journey. And I know we've talked often about tools and toolbox. We've talked about building a strong foundation. It's really important that everyone understands where they're at by developing a good, strong baseline and achieving your milestone. Then you can move forward to the next level. And it's really important that we get a good, strong foundation to do that. And our success path really adds clarity to what that looks like. So today, I don't think we're going to spend much time on what are the action items, what are the to-dos, what are the tools we have available. We've done a lot of work on that. And again, our last episode, I believe, was 47, Paul, really helps with what are those tools that are available to help you on that journey. But today it's going to be more about what is each stage and how can you help discern which stage you're in. And, we're not labeling it, but it's to help you get more progress on your own health journey. Something we've all said many times is we actually don't talk about cannabis until a long way down the success path, a long way down the journey. It's really about getting clarity about you and where you are in your journey. Paul Paul and Mark, I really like how we've been really teasing in the manifesto. And the manifesto comes from our success path. It comes from descriptions. It comes from where people are on their own health journey. And they've shared that with us. And we've just converted from a negative connotation, I'm in pain, to a positive connotation about where you can go. And some of that will be reflected today. But again, I appreciate the work that we've been doing, bringing the manifesto into the conversation. And I now know that we're bringing more of the roadmap. Where are we on what step of that roadmap along the journey as well? So again, from my perspective, we've covered a lot of ground. Like always, we're going to hit episode number 50. I think our podcasts are phenomenal. I love the content. And I think our body of knowledge that we've created and continue to create for people to be able to move forward on their journey has been amazing. And just to remind us all, why are we even here? Why are we even doing this? Well, it's easy. We're on a journey. And our journey is we're committed to help 100,000 people improve the quality of their life by considering the safe use of cannabis for their treatment journey. And we're not professing it's the solution for everything, or it's going to be the solution, or it's even going to work for you. But we are committed to help you on your health journey and be able to take forward steps on your journey. And all the tools that we've implemented, all the tools we've shared, everything that we've been talking about and sharing with people is about moving forward on your health journey. Last week's episode was about involving people in your circle of care and who your healthcare providers are in your circle of care. Whether you use cannabis or Reiki or a chiropractor or naturopath, doesn't matter. The point of that episode was have everyone working together, collaborating to help you move forward on your health journey. And whatever tool you end up using out of that toolbox doesn't matter as long as you move forward. And really, that's the whole goal we're trying to do is all of these tools are really to be focused on you on your own journey. So guys, that's my quick little intro and kind of month in review snapshot. As we go, I'll try to add some pieces to make things easier for everyone to get access to what we're trying to accomplish. But I think great work has been done as always on our content delivery. And slowly but surely, just like our roadmap, we're making forward steps on our own path. Paul and Mark, anything to add?
Wow. There was a lot there. Let's start on kind of the roadmap and the weekly podcast episodes. And we've actually, Mark and I, started now teasing in how a certain topic ties into multiple levels or multiple categories, whether it's be clear, be progressing, because those using the circle of care as an example, those individuals in your circle of care, a pharmacist is going to help you along your path in be clear as you get clear about your medications and what you're using for what. Your doctor might have a different role in be progressing in that they need to know or they should know and be up to date on all the treatments and therapies. And as you mentioned, your alternative practitioners, be it a chiropractor, Reiki, whatever, is more a WeedWell when you're adding complement into your treatment plan. And so we're now really beginning to discuss, it's a topic, but it spans your whole roadmap in a lot of cases. And so while the topic, we would say previously might be focused in one area, if you weren't really focused on that area, we're now trying to speak to you more globally and how you can take little tidbits from the topic of the week and add it into your treatment plan and take the important parts and help propel yourself forward on your own journey and how it would mean something to you. So I think that's been a subtle evolution, but I really like it. When we're talking roadmap and trying to get individuals to take as much as they can from the subject matter. I just wanted to add that.
So for me, the big takeaways from, as Paul touched on and Doug as well, in our recent podcast, like in the last 2-3 weeks, is really, although the client needs to take ownership, take an initiative, the client is or should not be alone. And so we're identifying, first of all, that they should not be alone. They should be, looking for a support system, in their immediate circle, the family circle, but also in the medical care circle as well. And Paul touched on that briefly. Pharmacists that tend to, at times, maybe overlooked or forgotten, play a considerable role in identifying the medications. They could remind you what they are for, the appropriate dosing, and more importantly, in my view anyways, is the possible of interactions, not only with other medication that you are on, but if you are indeed considering introducing cannabis, that in some cases, yes, with CBD as well, there could potentially be interaction. So it's a collaborative effort, and yes, the client plays a significant role, but that they are not alone.
So, Doug, I would piggyback off one other thing you mentioned on your intro, and it almost seemed a little reluctance on your part to use the term label. And what it is, though, I think it's good in a sort of way, in terminology aside, to figure out where you are at on that path. And so, and we'll get, this is obviously the topic of the day, so we'll get into a lot more detail. You've keenly pointed out that, you know, over 6,000 clients come in and they share their stories, but there's certainly parallels to certain stories that kind of fit you here and fit you there. So, you know, again, whether we're using the term label or whatever, they do fit a similar group or structure. We find people in that group, and, you know, with the manifestos and how we describe the group, and we'll describe in this podcast episode, you can kind of figure out, at least that speaks to me. That seems kind of where they're telling me where I'm at. I might have not put that label on it, but it's a good starting point to now explore further and see the different milestones or action items that you can do. So, yeah, the groups they come by, honestly, it's a lot of people over a lot of years sharing their story, sharing what's worked, sharing where they're at when they walk in the clinic, sharing where they're at when they kind of leave or graduate. They never really graduate. They always want to share more, especially the success, and that's great. We love to hear that stuff. But that's, you know, that's a lot of information that we've taken in and really broken up into 5 categories. So I think that's a good segue, to be clear.
Yeah, and just before we jump there, Paul, I just wanted to close loop on one thing. Last month, we made a mention that we'd be sharing our book with everyone. Knowing that we have a large following with our podcast following, and that this is an audio form and not always a visual form, we've created a quick site. And at the quick site, you can put in your email address, and we'll send you the cover copy of the book. And you'll also be added to the waiting list. So when we are ready to release the book, and whether it's available at Barnes & Noble or Chapters or on Amazon, you'll be immediately notified about it. So then, you know, the word can be spread. To get access to this waiting list to get on the book, you would go to weedwell.co/book. weedwell.co/book. And again, when you get there, you're going to get added to the waiting list, where we will update you about the current status about the book when it's been released on different channels. We'll keep you up to speed, and we'll share some snippets about the book as time goes on. But we're excited to share the book launch with everyone. We've been mindful about the launch coming up in the not too far distant future. We've been fine-tuning last-minute pieces of our content, working through some marketing plan now with our publisher. So hopefully next month we have a plan on release and launch and the like with everyone. But again, if you want to get access to the mailing list to be up to date on what's going on with the book, you would go to weedwell.co/book. We'll be happy to send you a copy of the book cover itself. And again, as more information comes out, we'll keep you up to date about that. Like you just identified, Paul, we're going to move into the topic of the day, which we like to call our success path. If you want a copy of our success path, you can get a copy of it by going to weedwell.co/success. weedwell.co/success. Now, our success path is, like Paul just identified, it's 5 steps, it's 5 stages, and we want you to be put into one of these stages. And the whole goal is to help you gain clarity on where are you in that current stage, that current step. So then you can accomplish and make some forward motion and then move forward to the next stage. Paul identified that really this stage setup that we've established, these 5 steps, have been established with the 6,000 people we've been blessed to serve up until this point. And it's really understanding what were the big pitfalls, what were the issues and concerns that people wanted to move forward on their own health journey, and what were those micro steps that we needed to take to move to the finish line. And I know, Mark and Paul, you've mentioned several times in your episodes, which is good, you always talk about the long marathon run. And don't worry about the long marathon run. Just worry about the next 3 or 4 or 5 steps, right? Just worry about the next few minutes of the journey. Don't worry about the long journey ahead of you. And get these micro wins. Well, it's the same thing with our success path. Our success path is really focused on getting these micro wins, which all add up to the big, long marathon run. Paul identified that there's 5 stages to the success path. So stage 1 of our success path is called Be Clear. And we've done a lot of talking about Be Clear. There's several episodes that we talk about Be Clear. And again, a couple episodes ago, we talked about different resources that's available that can help you on your journey. But Be Clear is our first stage. And really, Be Clear is all about helping people gain clarity about the current state of health. And we do that by really understanding what is it you want to achieve, and what are those baseline assessments about where you're at here and now. And this is important because we want to be able to measure for success. And you want to measure for success, but you don't know where you're at unless you know what your current situation is all about. And one of the common phrases we use in the Be Clear stage, which I love, and Mark has said to me several times, should we trademark that, is we talk about doing the health selfie. And really, to me, the health selfie is really Be Clear. And the whole objective is take a snapshot of where you're at here and now. There's no right or wrong. There's no pass or fail. Take a snapshot. And Be Clear is your snapshot. It's your health selfie about where you're at. And commonly, we would describe someone in the first stage of Be Clear. We would describe someone as someone who's suffering from a chronic medical condition, and they're frustrated. They're overwhelmed because they find that getting help is difficult. And our previous episodes that you've done, Mark and Paul, you've talked about they've gone from one practitioner to another practitioner, and one might have been conflicting information, or wasn't the answer they wanted, or they weren't able to move forward on their journey. And often that this person is frustrated and overwhelmed that they're not able to move forward. And they're sometimes they're desperate. They don't know where to turn to get forward motion on where they need to go. This is stage 1. Okay, so stage 1 is Be Clear. It is paraphrased by us as we want you as your big action item is really to get the health selfie. If you can just pause and just kind of get a snapshot of where you are in your journey, and if that's your action item, if that's what you achieve, I think you've achieved much more than most people can, because you don't know if you're going to make forward motion unless you know where you're at today. And again, if you are someone who's suffering from a chronic condition, you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, you're probably in this first stage. Now, what do we have available? If you go to weedwell.co/map1, weedwell.co/map1, we're going to give you information that's going to help you out with this first stage. Paul and Mark have talked in the last several weeks about the roadmap. The roadmap has several steps. We've added 1 or 2 or 3 micro steps to each stage, but weedwell.co/map1 will help you out on the micro step you need to take to move forward on stage 1. Mark and Paul, anything to add to our success path and Be Clear and more definition about what this looks like and what we've seen?
Yeah, Doug, and you'll recognize that I was maybe a little reluctant with the initial time that we talked about a health selfie. It just seemed a little awkward, but I've come to really cherish and actually love it. And that was actually my topic of the day yesterday on my broadcast. And, it is so important. I mean, if you are going on a journey, you need to know where you're starting from. And how could you expect to treat a medical condition, whether it be mental or physical, unless you truly get an understanding of where you currently are. And what are those? And it's often more than one, and one will impact the other. So it's a very, very important step to identify those things. And we have some practical tips and charts to be able to facilitate and guide you through that. But it's foundational. And the amount of time and effort that you put into this will help build your next step, your subsequent steps based on the outcome of that.
I will just continue on. We'll say the person that you might find yourself in this category if this speaks to you. And Doug, you touched on the chronic condition person, maybe multiple treatments, multiple doctors, specialists, and no answer, and use the term frustration, which is very appropriate. We've created the manifestos, though, to take that we'll say negative mindset, and that's not a judgment on the negative mindset. We get where you come from. But we're looking at it as, after trying other treatments, I'm eager to find the right solution for me. And in order to do that in the be clear sense of things, is you need to take stock of where you're at right now and get a handle of where you're at right now. Another manifesto that fits in this category, because for me it feels like we'll call it the darkest area if you're really at step one, and this it doesn't make it better or worse, or it's just where you're at, and it's the manifesto that says there will be brighter days ahead. And so doing the legwork, we've talked in terms of it being foundational, set your blocks, your base, however you want to word it, doing this legwork and be clear. If you really find yourself at step one, trying to figure things out and trying to get an idea on things, if these two manifestos speak to you, you're probably going to start in this area and you want to get a handle on ground floor, and that's okay. So I just wanted to tie the manifestos into how be clear looks like.
Love it. Now, like we've said throughout our time, there's no right or wrong answer here, and we don't want you to put any time to this. Don't think like you should be in stage one or be clear for a day or a week or a month or a year. There is no time. There's no right or wrong answer. But from our experience, the success you're going to gain moving forward is based on understanding where you're at today. And the more time you spend on truly understanding, completing a health selfie, the faster your progress is going to be, because you're going to have, one, something to measure your success forward on, and you're going to have a better understanding about what you're trying to treat. I know we've said this in the past, and Paul, you've kind of stolen my phrase a couple times. That's okay. I didn't copyright it, but we've talked about peeling back layers of the onion. And sometimes someone would come to us and say, I want to treat X. But when we complete the health selfie, we find out it was actually Y that it was. We talked about primary and secondary conditions before. And once we start peeling that onion layers back, we start realizing that was actually a secondary issue based on what this was your primary treating condition. And doing this work, doing this understanding where you're at, and gaining clarity on your current state of health is only going to make your check easier. It's funny. If we go backwards back to 2015, 16, we'll say, someone will come in and typically they'd say, I want to use dry herb and I want to smoke or vape it for this. And we usually say, halt, pause. What are we trying to treat and how are we trying to do it? Right? And it's back to this clarity phase. That's what we started today's discussion about was, typically we like to start off with this first step. Our second stage of our health journey is called be aware. And again, there's no right or wrong to how long you need to be in a certain stage. But our be aware stage is really focused around those who are skeptical about all the information. They've read something about topicals good, or ingestion's good, or vape's good, or this is better, or that's good, or sativa, or indica, or whatever. And they've read about all kinds of stuff, but they really don't know how it relates to them. Should I take this or should I take that, or how it fits? And they're just overwhelmed and skeptical about how that can be compiled into their own treatment plan. And we would say that's kind of what the mindset is of an individual in phase two, and phase two being be aware. And our goal, or our milestone that we want to achieve at the end of our be aware stage, is really setting health goals that's really focused about you. Often someone would say, I'm taking this medication because the doctor prescribed it to me. Now, often you can look at the medication, you can know if it's for blood pressure, if it's for anxiety or arthritis. And usually the medications can tell a story. But what we want you to do is we want you to understand the story. We want you to write your own story. Now, we're not saying go against the grain. We're not saying, we're here to contradict what you've been told. But what we want you to understand is, why are you taking it? Is aligned to your health goals and is moving you forward on your own health journey. You write your story. Okay. So phase 1 is really about gaining clarity about your current state of health by completing the health selfie. That's really what it is. Understand your current conditions. Phase 2, stage 2, we title it Be Aware. And really be aware is about people that are looking to start a treatment and they're overwhelmed about all the different options. And really it's about gaining clarity on how that fits into your journey and by establishing a goal that's focused on you. What do we have to add to that, guys?
I'll jump. So I think this is the point where your journey, there's kind of a little line in the sand. And if you picture yourself coming from Be Clear, and we would say at least the initial stages of Be Aware, there's a lot of cloud, there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of frustration, a lot of kind of stuff that pushes you down. And there's a very good reason why the health goal is the end of that. And that's your, real line in the sand, where I already talked about there be brighter days ahead and Be Clear, but you can totally see what it is here. So you have all those negatives kind of on your shoulders, pushing you down, the frustration, the skepticism, this, that. This is the first time where you've actually kind of done the groundwork to really focus on what it is that you're trying to attain. And that's why I kind of see it as the sun's coming out now. There is somewhere in the horizon at the sunset or whatever where you want to be. And you're not there yet, and that's okay. But now we've got somewhere we're aiming at. And that's for some individuals, that's huge. Just having that place in the distance, that better place, you hear the term, that happy place, whatever it is. But you have somewhere to aim at now. And, with regards to manifestos, I was thinking doctors have my best interests in mind. Sometimes they seek alternatives because I haven't responded to primary treatments. And so you kind of see this kind of bouncing around a little bit. Why are other people getting better? I'm not. But kind of putting all that into focus and getting that milestone, that goal, that health goal. I think really at this point, we're trying to turn your journey from the negative, the down, the cloudy, however metaphor you want to use, to the sunny, brighter days ahead. And from that point of view, a good place to move forward to.
I'd like to add as well that, and we've talked about this a few times, the frustration that clients could be sensing, being overwhelmed as well in the Be Clear, Be Aware stage, is part of the Be Clear is also, while you're identifying your conditions, is to try to determine which ones are considered primary and which ones are secondary. Because, and I'll give you examples, primary could be chronic pain and secondary could be sleep. But unless you identify that, in the Be Aware, we're encouraging you to really look closely if you do have sleep issues, that there's there's sleep hygiene that you could follow. Those are, practical ways and tips that you could apply. But the point that I want to make here is that if your chronic pain is what's disturbing you or preventing you from having a good night's sleep, or perhaps stress and anxiety during the daytime, the focus should be on that first and foremost, and your sleep would become secondary to that, because it's highly likely, and we have all seen this numerous times, that if we can get a better control and find some relief for the primary conditions in daytime, that often sleep does improve from there.
And just to circle off, be aware. We don't really want to have the conversation about indica, sativa, THC, CBD. This is not the time and place. And it's to echo what Mark and Paul was saying. It's really to add more clarity about your be clear. What is your current state of health? Taking that health selfie. But if your primary treatment goal is your sleep, then it's a different tool we might use to help sleep than it is with pain. And really be aware is really getting awareness about your current state of health and understanding the condition and what it is you want to achieve to move forward. So, for example, you may not be able to achieve chronic back pain. If your back is mush, you might not be able to fix that, but you might be able to help out some of the associated symptoms. And really this stage is really about gaining clarity, gaining awareness about what it is you want to achieve. What you said there a minute ago, Paul, this really ends off. The real capstone here is get your health goal. What is it you want? Everything should be about you writing your own health story moving forward, and is really gaining that clarity. Now, to put these pieces together, we've talked about the roadmap. Now we're talking about the success path. The roadmap is steps and tools that can help you on your health journey. Okay. So back in Be Clear, we talked about a tool you could use to help you with that. And we said you could access it by going to weedwell.co/map1. Then we're going to give you some tools to help you with Be Clear. In Be Clear, we have 2 action items that can help you out. And when you go to that URL I just gave you, to help you with that. Now in the Be Aware stage, if what we're describing to you is you, if you feel you're in this Be Aware stage, someone that's skeptical about all this information and how it can relate to your specific needs, and that you want to set health goals that's aligned to you, if you hear us say and you go, hey, that's me, then what we'd like you to do is we'd like you to go to weedwell.co/map3. And map 3 is going to give you some tools and tips and strategies to help you out on your Be Awareness stage. Now, as we move through Be Aware, we're going to move into the next phase. And the next phase or the next step is called Be Informed, which is stage 3 of our success path. Now, Be Informed there's potentially a lot of content in here, and a lot of content that we offer to people to help them on their own health journey. Typically, the individual we would see in the 3rd stage of Be Informed, typically this person now has gained some clarity about the current state of health, and now they understand what it is they want to treat. Now they've got a plan. They've got a health goal. Now they know where they want to go. Back to what Mark said, primary versus secondary. Now they're saying, I want to help my sleep. I want to help my daytime arthritic pain. I want to help this. They're now speaking in first person about what it is they want. And typically the person in the Be Informed stage is someone who would say to us, listen, I want to help this condition, but I don't want to get high, or I want this. And they're concerned and they're not sure about how they can consume. What's the upside and downside of ingesting versus inhalation versus sublingual versus topical? And often they'd say, what's safe? What's healthier for me? Is smoking better than vaping? Is vaping better than ingestion? Is ingestion better than topical? And also is, what will my doctor think about this? If I start with this topical, for example, for my arthritis pain, what's my doctor's reaction going to be? So this is kind of the thoughts and feelings and considerations that individuals have in this 3rd phase. And as we're identifying our 1st phase or 2nd stage and our 3rd phase, you can see that the mindset and where you are is very different with each milestone or each action item that we're talking about. And the success path is about that. It's really putting you into a bucket, help you gain clarity about what it is you're trying to achieve. And then by gaining clarity, you're able to move forward on your own health plan. And our milestone with someone in Be Informed is really that someone's able to gain a clear understanding about what it is they're trying to achieve, how, and even if cannabis is a treatment option. It may not be. So consideration, is it a consideration or is it not? And if it is, what kind of cannabinoids would be appropriate for me? We've done previous episodes about THC and CBD and blends. Is one better than the other? How does it fit and align to your medical conditions that we talked about in Be Aware? How does it align to your current state of health and Be Clear? And then how do you structure this into a treatment plan that's aligned to your health goals? That's what we're trying to achieve in this third phase. So third phase is really about being informed. It's really about individuals that are overwhelmed about how does all this fit into what I'm trying to do, and how do I structure this to make it work so then I'm able to make successful movement on my current treatment. That's our third phase. Mark or Paul?
I will join in here. And I'll just start with the manifesto and piggyback from there a little bit of what you said, Doug. And I have confidence in my choice of cannabis as a medicine. And, this is a section, and I remember talking very recently in the Thursday Mark and I discussions, that this is a part where there can be a huge epiphany for people. And it's the client that comes in initially that is, what do I take for my sleep problems? What do I take for my pain problems? And, you've already said we'll usually have the conversation stop, slow down, let's reassess and figure out where we're at. And the epiphany is this: that conversation goes from what do I take for to what you just said, Doug. I'm going to take CBD for my daytime pain so I can. And the client has come to that conclusion themselves by doing the be clear work and the be aware work, or they've taken their own experience, or however that comes about. But they have that foundation there where they're dictating what their treatment plan is. And, in the end, the milestone of all milestones and be informed is that treatment plan, whatever that is going forward. And as you've pointed out, Doug, there's micro steps. There's 3 micro steps in there to get to that. But along with the epiphany, it's bigger than that. This is the idea, and we preach this quite a bit, tool in the toolbox. And that's great that we throw all these tools in the toolbox. But if you go from what do I take for my pain to I'm going to take this for my pain, you know how to use that tool in your toolbox, which is way more important than us telling you take CBD twice a day, indica at night, or whatever, because it's not going to resonate for it's just another prescription from another a clinic or another doctor or whatever. Understanding how and why and coming to that self-discovery is a bigger and more important tool than being told what to do, essentially.
Anything to add, Mark?
Nothing to add, Doug or Paul.
So in our Be Informed roadmap, we have 3 steps, 3 micro action items to help you out, to help you gain clarity on your current path to wellness. To help you out with Be Informed, if you visit weedwell.co map 5, you'll get some information delivered to you to help you out on this. So if everything we just talked about with what we described Be Informed looks like, if that sounds like you and you're like, hey, that's where I'm at right now, then by all means, jump into Be Informed and start doing the work. But again, if you go, this is all foreign, then move backwards and start back and be clear, be informed. Again, there's no race. There's no time dependency here. We're not saying one's week, a day, a month, or a year. It's your time. It's your health journey. But understanding, doing that pre-work is going to help you move forward. So in Be Informed, weedwell.co/map5 will help you out with pieces of information and content to help you out with that stage. The next stage is called Be Progressing, and it's our 4th stage. And, each one of these stages, guys, there's always one lesson, or there's always one takeaway, or one action item, or one discussion that we've had that's kind of the favorite. And Paul, you just talked about Be Informed. I think you said the action item of all action items is the treatment plan. And it's kind of the one that puts it all together. And it's really one that you can look at and go, wow, this is a pretty cool, successful one. Be Progressing is kind of like that. It's really, I think, one that kind of gives you an opportunity to reflect on some celebrations, some wins, and celebrate some of those wins. But Be Progressing is really for the individual that's begun a treatment plan with cannabis. And now it's the time to really evaluate whether it's working or it's not working. What's the upside? What's the downside? And we only know that if we've done that health selfie. right? The health selfie really helps us understand, what does my current day look like today? What's the day in the life of me look like? What's the upside and downside of the conditions that's affecting me? And this also helps you evaluate that and help to find relief with what you're doing with the current treatment plan you've established. So you might have decided to use a topical or a sublingual for a certain reason because of other things that's going on in your life. Well, here's the opportunity you can find out, is it giving me the relief I was hoping to get? And it's really the chance for you to really evaluate the treatment plan that you've established for yourself. Our milestone that we really want people to really be thinking about in this stage, the fourth stage of Be Progressing, is we want you to be committed to your health goal. Remember, everything should be aligned to your health goal. You've established your health goal. You then establish your treatment plan. Your treatment plan should be established, and it should be a straight line up to your health goals. And we want you to be committed to those goals. What does that mean? It means it may take you some time to get the response you want. And it may take some testing and some trialing and some tweaking in order to get you where you need to get to. We're not saying that cannabis or any solution is a magic potion. You take it and boom, all the world's wonders are gone. It's going to take some work and determination on your part to be able to find the relief you're looking for. But what we want you to do is to celebrate those wins. And by you being committed to your goals, being committed to your plan, and celebrating these small wins, you're going to start to see some gains. So you're going to do that by always celebrating these wins that you're getting. Now, how are we going to be able to do that? You're going to do that by journaling, and really by journaling the results that you're seeing. And by journaling, you're going to be able to see these small wins that you're getting over time. You're going to start going, hey, my inflammation's less. I'm not reaching for my pain pills now 4 times a day. It's once a day. And by doing this, you're going to be able to start to see the successes you're getting. And we want you to celebrate those wins. So again, the Be Progressing is our 4th stage. And the 4th stage, I find often when we see people, they want to jump into 3 and then hurry up, get 4. And really the 4th stage is really Be Progressing. You've begun a treatment plan. The treatment plan is really now in place. We want you to start journaling and recognizing the wins you're getting in your own plan and celebrate those wins. If this sounds like you, if what I've just described sounds like you, then you're in the Be Progressing or the 4th stage of your journey. Now, the success path is not linear. You don't have to go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4. You might jump into 3 and then quickly do your evaluation in 4 and go, you know what? This isn't working. Go back and reestablish your treatment plan in 3. Okay? But taking this methodical approach that we've outlined is going to be what's going to help you move forward on your current path to wellness.
I just wanted to emphasize even a little more about the importance and significance of journaling. Doug was mentioning, celebrating your success, but there's also what has not worked. And it's so important to document that because it can easily get out of hand or out of control almost unless you're documenting it. And it can be confusing. You could be undoing some important results that you have already accomplished by not journaling and backstepping. So it's so important, equally as important as, well, every phase, but really to be clear is to, your journaling is equally as important. And often if we're not feeling well, there could be, fog in the brain, so to speak. We could be distracted with our condition or other things that's surrounding us. So when you have it journaled, you can go back and reflect and say, that's right. This is what happened when I did that. I won't do that again. Or I started to notice some improvement when I've introduced this step or this dosage. So very, very important.
So I'm going to take a little different viewpoint to this, and I'm going to go back for a second to be clear. When I said the manifesto there is, after trying other treatments, I'm eager to find the solution that's right for me. And that person in that be clear phase is still a little beholden to the healthcare system, specialist doctors, and their own research that they need to do and get a handle on things. And rightfully so, it's a ground floor, it's a starting step. I'm going to throw this one out here for Be Progressing. I control what my future path looks like. Anything is possible. There's a definite transformation at this point from powerless and part of the system and trying to get a handle on things to powerful, this is what I'm doing. This is the tools I'm using. I'm using a health journal. The health journal is dictating my treatment plan, good, bad, or otherwise. And based on good, bad, or otherwise, I'm adjusting what it is that I need to do for me. I figured this out. I'm in power now. Or at least I've dictated to have the conversation. Now I'm sharing my healthcare with my doctor. He or she still might know better. They've done the education, they've done the medical school on that, but we can share an opinions and I can help dictate my treatment plan. And so I just want to point that out. That's a big transformation. We talked about a line in the sand from this idea in the smart health goal and be aware of here's where I see myself in the future. But now you're actually at a point where you're doing stuff to get to yourself at that point, doing stuff for yourself to get to that point in the future.
Now, like we've identified, all of this relates back to the roadmap. And the roadmap for Be Progressing has 3 steps again, just like Be Informed. If what we've described in Be Progressing sounds like you, if you go, you know what, everything they're saying right here sounds like me, then we've got some resources to help you. To make it easy, go to weedwell.co/map8. weedwell.co/map8, and you can begin the work on doing a little deeper dive into the Be Progressing stage. Now, as we move into the 5th stage, Be Well is how we title our 5th stage. I want to emphasize a couple things with our Be Well phase. And I think those that make transformational changes, what Paul just talked about, are the ones that actually implement Be Well. And this is what I mean. Be Well is individuals that we would typically see that would welcome and accept where they're at. They go, you know what? I've started this treatment we talked about back in Be Informed to Be Progressing, and my pain is gone. My sleep is better. My whatever is better. And they go, I'm there. I've crossed the finish line. I'm there. They're celebrating their success. And really, those that move forward even more, they even get more gains, they get more progress, more forward action. The ones that get even more success out of this journey are the ones that actually say, pause, I'm glad I was able to achieve this. I want more. And those that come out saying, I want more, typically they have a vision for what their future state of health is going to be. What they would say is, I've achieved this, and I've used this analogy before, walking to the mailbox. Now they say, I want to walk around the block now. And really, that's what this whole Be Well is about. You've done a lot of work. Be proud of where you're at here and now. Accept it. Celebrate it. But now we want you to create a vision for what your future you is going to look like. And we want you to take an active role in managing your healthcare moving forward. Up until this stage, it's been a lot of information, a lot of tweaking, a lot of trial, a lot of figuring out. And now we want you to take even more role in what you need to do to move forward. And those that do that deeper dive, those that do that bigger work, are the ones that we see even get more success out of what they're trying to achieve. But if you just look at this saying, I wanted to improve my sleep and I did that and I'm better, then we find that sometimes the treatment actually goes backwards. We want you to continually setting a new goal and push yourself forward. Set these little micro steps forward so you're able to get forward progress in your health journey. But you need to celebrate the wins that you're getting. We want you to compound the wins that you're getting as time goes on. Kind of one of the action items we speak about in this Be Well stage is really, it's a time to compare and contrast your health. We actually want you to take a health selfie again and go, look at the work I've done. Be proud of what you've done. And then go, here's where I was a little while ago at Be Clear, and here's where I am at now. And celebrate that win, but then reestablish a new Be Clear, reestablish a new health selfie. Move the boundary forward. Get more progress. Don't accept where you're at as the end point. And those that continually move in the barometer forward, continually making progress in their current state of health. That's really the 5th stage, titled Be Well.
From a manifesto standpoint, Be Well is a lot more about wellness. And so, I have a holistic approach to my wellness. I come first is one of the first ones that come to mind. I have a path to wellness that is centered around me is another one that comes to mind. And it goes back to, I touched on a little bit in Be Progressing as you begin to get a handle on your own future and your own health care and how you're going to contribute to that. But as Doug mentioned in the Success Path to Be Well, this is really where it takes hold. The other thing, I was just thinking as you were talking, Doug, often when I remember in school days, if you will, it was something to learn about a topic and you retain some of the information. But if you could teach that topic, you kind of mastered that information. And the thing that came to mind was the number of individuals that have come in to share their story to help people along their path to wellness. And so it's the Cynthias, Joes, and I'm not going to name them all, but the group of people that have been in and they're sharing their health journey in order to try to help other people. And to me, if there was ever a mastery of wellness, I'm not sure anyone can master their wellness because your health kind of always and your wellness always moves around a little. But if you ever were close to that and you're sharing your journey in helping others, I got to say you're pretty close. And just having that ability and understanding of yourself and then being able to share that to others. It was just a random thought as you were talking along, but I think that goes a long way. I think that's an important step as well.
And Paul, I think along with that is, part of your goals. Obviously, the initial focus is your health because your health is going to allow you to go to the next steps in your wellness path, and that's why it is so important. And perhaps for someone, it was just being able to go back to work. So imagine now you've gone through the steps, you've been able to find significant relief that would allow you to do that. And maybe it's not a full-time job with heavy lifting, but to be able to, get out and regain a sense of worth, a sense of dignity, and a sense of accomplishment can go a long, long ways as well. And that helps our health, but as well as our wellness. So there's so much in that step or that phase.
So, guys, I'll just paraphrase the 5 steps one more time real quickly. There's 5 steps to our success path. If you want a copy of our success path, you can get it at weedwell.co/success. weedwell.co/success. Stage 1 is titled Be Clear. It's really about people that are frustrated, they're overwhelmed about their current state of health. They find that getting help can be difficult. And really what we want you to do is we want you to gain clarity around your current state of health. We do that by completing what we call the health selfie. If that sounds like you, then go to weedwell.co/map1, and we'll provide you some tips and tools and strategies to help you out with that. The second stage of our success path is called Be Aware. And really our stage about Be Aware is those that are skeptical about information, how that can relate to their needs. And our only real goal we want you to get out of Be Aware is to understand your current state of health, what we talked about in Be Clear, and establish a health goal that's aligned to you. And if that sounds like you, then what we want you to do is go to weedwell.co/map3, and we'll give you some tips, tools, and strategies to help you out with the Be Aware stage. The next stage is called Be Informed, which is the third stage. And really the individuals at the Be Informed stage are those that they're talking now about cannabis, and they're now starting to go, how can this fit into my treatment plan? I don't want to get stoned. I don't want to get high. I'm worried about, impaired. I'm worried about inhalation, ingestion. I'm worried about all these things. And I'm worried about how that can fit into my other treatment plan with my other medicines and my doctor's reaction. And really our big milestone here is we really want to establish a treatment plan. And we want a treatment plan that's aligned to your health goals that you established back in the previous stage that we talked about, Be Aware. If that sounds like you, this Be Informed stage, then what we would like you to do is go to weedwell.co/map 5, and then we'll give you tips, tools, and strategies to help you with that. The 4th stage is called Be Progressing. And Be Progressing is really the opportunity that we want you to start to look at your health and start to evaluate how is the treatment plan going. Is it lining your treatment plan to your goals? Are you starting to see some wins? Are you starting to see some progress on the current path that you've established? And if you are, by evaluating that through journaling, then great. If not, it's time to titrate, it's time to test, it's time to refine. But here's really the time where you can do some of the work to really do that. If this kind of sounds like this is you in this phase, this is our 4th stage called Be Progressing, then you can go to weedwell.co/map8. And then our final stage is called Be Well, which is stage number 5. And this is really where we want you to celebrate your wins, celebrate where you're at. But also we want you to compare and contrast your current health selfie that we talked about in the Be Clear stage and push forward to establish new goals, new momentum on your current path to wellness. And like Paul said, it's the opportunity to look at other treatment modalities and other treatment paths that can be included on your treatment plan. If that sounds like you, then this is the 5th stage, which is called Be Well. If you want some tips and tools and strategies to help you with that, you can go to weedwell.co/map11. If you're not sure where you fit on this entire journey that we've talked about for the last almost hour, then you go to weedwell.co/map and just get a copy of the map, figure out if you want north, south, east, or west. We'll give you some information, some tips, tools, and strategies to help you with that. Again, we are on a journey, and our journey is to help 100,000 people improve the quality of their life by considering the safe use of cannabis on their health journey. We want you to be part of that, and you can do that by visiting one of those links I provided. If you're not sure, go to weedwell.co/map, and you can join our group in helping to improve your life and other people's lives on this health journey. We have all kinds of resources available to you. You can find our resources on our podcast.weedwell.com. You can search, well, like we said, we're going to be hitting episode number 50 next week. And Paul, when you were just talking a minute ago, I've got an idea for our 50th episode. So when we're done, we can talk about all of us. So podcast.weedwell.com, you can get access to all of our podcast episodes. You can also follow us on your favorite podcast channel, Spotify, Apple, Google, or name it. If you listen to an episode, if you could take a couple of seconds and like it, share it, and leave us a comment, we really appreciate that. We take your feedback and really implement that. Lately, we've been getting more and more follows and more shares and more comments. We appreciate those. That really helps us and motivates us to continue doing the work that we've been doing. If you'd like to be part of our group, we would like you to join our group at weedwell.group. This is an opportunity to share comments, be part of what's working and not working, and share ideas and threads with others. So you can join our group at weedwell.group. We've talked about many resources today and at previous times, which you can find on our podcast. You can find all of our resources at weedwell.tips. Our website is weedwell.com, and we've also been mentioning lately that we have the ability to text message you. So you can always send us a text message, and you can get information about anything by simply send us a text. You can do that at 705-805-8264 and just say, hey, Mark, I heard your episode yesterday. I want to know more. Hey, Paul, I heard your episode the other day. I really liked it. I want to hear more. And send that to us. We'll get your text message, and we'll send you the information that you want. Guys, I think we want to accomplish the success path today. I think we did a good job on identifying the 5 stages. For me, that's all I needed to say or wanted to say. So I'm good.
That's a tough follow. I think I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I think we covered the success path quite well. And so, just to reiterate, this is the people or the person part of the journey. Last month we talked about the tools in the toolbox. So the physical, whether it's sheets of paper, tips or tricks or things that you can do. But now today was all about the people, where you fit and then what it is that you can do. And so hopefully we've closed that gap, and you combine your success path with your roadmap and start implementing, little things and just start with one. We talk about micro steps or micro goals, stuff like that. You don't need to see the whole sheet of paper if we use the roadmap as an example and say, how am I going to do 12 things? Don't worry about doing 12 things. Start with one. Get a handle on one. Celebrate that one. You find yourself growing that way.
Well, as usual, excellent job, guys. I really don't have much to add. You've covered everything so well. So we have reached the point of our disclosure. And it goes like this. I'd like to remind our audience that these information sessions are intended for individuals who are generally in good health, are generally well adjusted, are functioning effectively, and are not in need of medical treatment, and that includes mental health disorders. These information sessions do not involve the diagnosis or treatment of any medical or mental disorders and do not prevent, cure, or treat any mental disorder or medical disease. Further, these sessions are not a substitute for therapy, counseling, psychoanalysis, medical treatment, substance abuse treatment, or the advice or services of a medical professional. It is your responsibility to seek independent guidance from medical professionals to the extent necessary. So please do speak to your healthcare provider about the appropriateness of cannabis as a treatment option. For those who have taken some steps in improving your quality of life, congratulations. Remember, your journey is your journey. And as long as you're taking some steps forward in improving the quality of your life, you should be proud of the progress that you are making. At WeedWell, we are committed to helping people improve their quality of life, and utilizing cannabis as a treatment option is one way to accomplish that. On behalf of my colleagues, Doug and Paul, myself, we look forward to the next time that you join us. And until then, be well. Thank you for joining me. I'd like to take this time to share with you how I first became interested and then involved with cannabis as a medicine. My name is Mark Tremblay, a founding member of Simcoe Holistic Health, Ontario's first medical clinic dedicated to the treatment and care of those patients considering cannabis as an option. As a teenager, I did sample marijuana and quickly concluded that it simply wasn't for me. I'll admit I did find myself judging those who did consume weed, thinking that their sole motive was strictly to get high. It wasn't until many years later that I discovered the true medical benefits of marijuana. A loved one was diagnosed with MS. After many months of symptom manifestation resulting in sleepless nights, I witnessed firsthand how cannabis can help alleviate symptoms and improve sleep. My eyes were open. My interest further increased. As a result, Simcoe Holistic Health opened its doors in 2013. Since then, our clinic has operated under 4 Health Canada regulations and served nearly 6,000 patients ranging from ages 3 to 93. I have personally witnessed countless individuals and families who experience improved quality of life. Having said that, I've also observed that cannabis treatment is simply not for everyone. As we continue to grow and expand our reach, Simcoe Holistic Health is rebranding to WeedWell. For more information, visit us at weedwell.com or follow us on our social channels. Till the next time, be well.